Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video, I'm going to be going over another spawn vid, and this time we're going to be talking about the treasure spawn that just came out with Momohine. Okay, so I'm going to start off first talking about the gear and the monster, and then we're going to actually talk about the treasure spawn and what's to not. Okay, so we got Momohine Fairy to start off with the monster. It has an ability power 200, damages 3 times with the success value of 100, so it's gonna hit 100% of the time unless there's like accuracy debuffs and what's not that apply. Then it might not hit 100% of the time, not 100% sure. But anyways, yeah, this doesn't do bad damage whatsoever. It's pretty, it's above decent damage. It's alright damage. It's pretty good damage. It's not excellent. It's not very good, but it hits definitely. You might notice the damage. Anyways, moving on from there, we got applies buff removal resistance to all allies, which nullifies any buff removal or karma effect one time. So yeah, they made it pretty transparent. If you haven't seen Kumbahira before, Kumbahira does the same thing. Actually, I tested her out to see if buff removal, the null buff removal, works for the crystal defenses like balancing and karma, and it does. It absolutely works against them. So they didn't make it transparent with Kumbahira. So now, if you already don't know, they made it pretty transparent for this one. So go on down to A-Team's nice and lovely gem shop and see which price of gems is right for you, so you could get this nice, beautiful, top tier, wonderful, luxurious monster, all for the cheap price of I don't even know how many hundred of gems they're actually trying to get you to spend here. But anyways, yeah. The guild battle's out, so that's pretty much what they're trying to do, is push themselves to actually getting more money. And because of that, and because it has buff removal resistance and guild battles out, that's perfect timing for both. Legitimately perfect timing for both. It's like a set in stone type scenario where they're trying to get you to spend more. Seriously, if you already don't have Kumbahira, you probably want to go for this monster if you plan on going anywhere anytime soon, unless you're like super top tier and half of everybody in your team already has over 1 million gear score. If that's the case, you might not need this, but for the most part, most of you out there probably want this for your guild if you want your guild to go far and go places real fast, real quick, because this monster and Kumbahira definitely do the trick. Kumbahira has dual attack, so one move gets 0 cooldown time completely for free. And then Kumbahira also increases the cost recovery speed and reduces ability cooldown time, so you're able to do more DPS, not because your damage is increased, but because you're able to output more moves. You're able to use more attacks because she allows you to use more attacks by increasing the cost recovery speed and reducing the ability cooldown time. Unlike this monster right here, this one does the same thing. They just made karma more transparent to pretty much say, hey, now's the time to gem spawn and give us more money. Is pretty much what they're trying to do. But anyways, it increases the stats of all allies by 50%. That's a nice combo around it. It increases critical hit chance of all allies by 30%. Now, unlike Fatal Testament, if you have critical chance up, this might actually be a good combo with the critical chance up constant effects, the attack constant effects for critical chance up, because these will both of them increase critical hit chance. So definitely, you're getting a critical hit chance increase from both. They don't fuse into one big rate, but they add onto each other. They don't multiply onto each other, but they add onto each other. So yeah, it's pretty much like adding extra, it's pretty much like Jenga blocks. You're just adding more, except they don't fall down. I'm not trying to imply the falling down thingy. I'm just trying to imply it gets bigger. And that's how pretty much it gets bigger. Then it increases physical and magical ability power of all allies by 30% for 60 seconds. Well, not 30%, but 30 for 60 seconds. And the Awakening standby mode only applies to yourself, so it's only one person. But yeah, those right there are very nice guild battle combos. I can't really see this being too much of a top tier player versus enemy monster. You can use this as a player versus enemy, definitely, but keep in mind regular stat buffs can be easily removed depending on the monster you are fighting, so keep that in mind. Guild raids also on top of it. Super United offenses, I haven't played a Super United offense in a while. I think so. I'm not 100% sure, to be fairly honest. I don't remember too much about Super United offenses at this very point anymore whatsoever. Probably. But anyways, yeah. Player versus enemy scenarios, the buff, like the regular buff right there, can be removed. I mean, it does have buff removal, so you do get a freebie right there. But keep in mind, they do remove buffs quite easily depending on the monster you're fighting, especially since some of these monsters, right, they have increased action speed. They can increase their own action speed, so they can attack constantly. Some of these, very few of these, but some of these can attack second after second, and it's really retarded and it's really dumb, but yeah, some of them could do that. So yeah, right there are some very, very nice combos. This is definitely a very, 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 very handy guild battle monster. Can be useful in player versus enemy, but it's not like top tier for player versus enemy at all. It's a good monster to use a player versus enemy, definitely, especially with the buff removal resistance at least one time. But it's not going to be like top tier for player versus enemy. So it's definitely not worth whaling for player versus enemy whatsoever. But if you don't have a buff removal for player versus player, you definitely want to do this. You definitely want to do this. So yeah, that's pretty much the monster, what's not. I don't see how the status alignment resistance is going to help unless it's for player versus enemy. That's also going to help for player versus enemy because you're going to be dealing, if you don't have hero, you don't have frenzy, you don't have remove status alignments every 10 seconds for something like a continuous status alignment removal, or you don't have like Unison gains like a crap ton of them, and a status alignment removal monster, this might help as well because this increases resistance by 40, and because of that, it's going to be harder for them to put status alignments on you. Keep in mind, it's still very possible, but the success value is going to go down by 40. Imagine having a success value of 100 to 60. 60 is going to miss, I wouldn't say like a lot, but it's going to miss a good amount. So it's pretty much what that's there for. I think that's for the new event that just came out. I'm not 100% sure if this monster's around the new event. I haven't really got to try it all too much, but I can't tell you for sure. Definitely a very, 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 very good guild battle monster if you don't have Kumbahira already. If you have Kumbahira, not really worth whaling, and what's not. And then we got the Martial Spirit weapons, and then we got the Crimson Hermit armors. And I can tell you right now, they're really only great stat sticks. They really are. Fatal Scion is definitely not a skill I would really recommend too much whatsoever. I had Fatal Scion XL, and it didn't really help out like whatsoever. I thought it was gonna help out. I thought if I attached enough of them, I didn't know much about skills, so I thought there was gonna be like 5 of them going off at once. Like there'd be like a 50% chance, and then like I wouldn't need a cleric at all. I'd be so self-sufficient. And this was like when I was 200 or 100k, and I was really stupid at the time. And I got my first Fatal Scion, and it had extremely low proc rates. So personal experience, double XL will have higher proc rate, but when I had a Fatal Scion XL, it had pretty dang low proc rate, like really low proc rate. I'm talking like lower proc rate than the Noah gear that just came out that's actually gone. It had lower proc rate than that. I'm not sure, like you might notice it, but for the most part, like if you were to grab like an XL, not a double XL, because I'm pretty sure double XLs have higher proc rate, not significantly higher, but they will have higher proc rate. It's like one of the lowest proc rated skills in the game, definitely. And then what it does is a chance to critical hit and heal your HP by 5k. 5k isn't gonna matter when you're level 200. You legitimately have over like 100k health, legitimately. That's really not gonna help whatsoever, especially with the low proc rate in the first place. Not very helpful, like under any circumstance. Seriously, like 5k per hit on top of it, it's not going to help. If it was like 15k per hit and it had decent, like very high proc rate, that'd be really self-sufficient for player versus enemy, but that's not the case. It has really low proc rate and it only heals 5k. 50k might help because if you manage to have like constant recovery speed and reduced ability cooldown time for your moves, that's definitely going to be a lot of HP healed at once. That's legitimately kind of like replacing life drain, but that's not the case in scenario again. So yeah, it has low proc rate and it has a chance to critical hit. Says I think they're trying to say is it gives more of a critical hit chance. I'm not 100% sure, but pretty much you have a chance to activate this and then you have a chance to critical hit. So that's 2 chances in one, and it doesn't give too much of an HP increase, which even if it did have higher proc rate, the HP, the 5k wouldn't be really too helpful. So this is one of the lesser skills. Definitely one of the lesser skills. I don't really recommend it whatsoever. If you don't believe me, you could try it out yourself and tell everybody in the comments how it went. That's really what I got. That's all I really got to say about Fatal Scion and what's not. And then we got the armors down here with physical and magical reflection. They count as the same skill. We have reflection armors. They are a lot better, and they vary from legitimately 30 cost to 36 cost. We even have reflection double XL armors. Now they're not as common. They're going to be pretty dang hard to get considering they're only gem spawn exclusives, but they're definitely obtainable. They're definitely out there and what's so not. And they're armor, so they go for any class, so you don't have to worry about them only working for one class and what's so not. But anyways, moving on from there, reflection is a better skill than physical and magical reflection. Physical and magical reflection fall under the same family, if you don't know that already. So really, reflections can only proc twice, so you can only proc one physical, one magical, or 2 physicals, or 2 magicals. You cannot proc 2 physicals and 2 magicals at the same time. It has to be one or the other, and what's so not around that. Instead, you could throw on reflections. Reflections both reduce physical and magical damage, and then it sends the damage back at the attacker that it got reduced and what's so not. And that would work a lot better. And even then, if you're fighting like really late end game people, they're going to have a reflection reduction armor on for the most part, most of the time, because if you stack 2 of them, most of what would be considered a barrier, even at like I think it's 10 barrier, which is 100% reflect barrier, you're just gonna be taking straight up 1 damage to yourself. You're not gonna be taking much damage at all. That's how much the reflection reduction armors do, is they literally reduce damage all the way down to 1. Even if you do like a ridiculous amount, it gets reduced all the way down to 1. So yeah, that's pretty much how they work out, and there's a lot of endgame people who have them. So honestly, physical magical reflection is not going to help like whatsoever. I really don't recommend these skills for both the armors and the weapons whatsoever and what's so not. But they are good cosmetics. You guessed it. If you guessed it, you get a cookie at the end of this video. I'm joking. But anyways, yeah, they serve as very, very, very nice cosmetics. Definitely, as an archer, I love that bow. I absolutely love that bow. I'm not going to spawn just for the bow itself and the cosmetic. No. Way too expensive. But anyways, well, not way too expensive. It's not expensive at all, and I'll talk about that in a second. But definitely more pay to win. Definitely more pay to win. You're going to have to save up a couple gems. Well, not just a couple gems. You're gonna have to save up probably even 100 gems to actually get some of this gear, just 1 piece. But anyways, moving on from there, yeah, they serve as good cosmetics. I love both the armors and the weapons themselves. They are very, very nice looking and what's so not. Anyways, moving on from there, we got the treasure spawn next, and let's talk about how this works. Okay, so whoa, they changed a lot around with this update. Okay, so they have 6.01% rates on the SSR, and then they show that it's new, but they have no rates up. So don't be fooled if you see it in the gear spawn and you're thinking there might be a chance to get in the gear spawn too, AzureWrath. That's not how it works. They literally make it dang near mythical. They literally make it dang near mythical to actually obtain these monsters. Like, they have like, out of all the SSRs, you have decent rates on all the SSRs and the spawn, except for the feature gear. They make the feature gear near impossible to get within the gear spawn. So don't get your hopes high, because I wouldn't want you to at all. And they have a guaranteed list, which is very, very nice. This is looking a lot more clean and what's so not. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works out. Is they don't it's near mythical within the gear spawn, so don't expect to obtain it and what's so not. And then right here we have the jackpot, and we don't have the jackpot. We have the chest. Sorry. And A-team, you understand why people are quitting your game, right? You understand why they're retiring, right? It's because you keep adding more and more expensive treasure spawns, and it's not fair whatsoever. It's totally not cool. It's totally not cool. Like, if you had 400 treasure battles in one of the side chests, it would be cool, but seriously, like, if people quit the game, that means you're doing something wrong. That doesn't mean you add a higher price to the treasure spawn or the divine grace spawn. That doesn't mean you do that, like, whatsoever. That's a no-no, because that makes more people quit until your game doesn't work out anymore for you whatsoever, and it's just stupid. It's legitimately stupid. I don't see why you do this to your game. Legitimately, you're going to cause your game to legitimately end its own life. You're causing your game to commit suicide. Seriously, you really are. But anyways, moving on from there, yeah, they only offer treasure medals within the jackpot. There is absolutely none in the side chest, like, whatsoever, like 0. You have 900, which is very nice, because usually they do 700 in this jackpot, right? And then they do 200 in the side chest for normal treasure spawns. And instead of like the 200 in the side chest, they have it in the jackpot, so that's very nice. But what about the 400? The 400's not around here. I mean, it's nice to get drops of ether and awakening orbs, but I want the 400 and the side chest back. I'm gonna do a protest. I'm going on strike, A-Team. This is stupid. So yeah, they're I guess they're doing this from now on. It's kind of stupid, but yeah. A-Team, again, you're butchering your own game. Like this game isn't even like top-notch technology, advanced programming, like whatsoever. This game wasn't programmed with like the best equipment in like the century of the year of the decade of today's current age and model and technology advances and whatsoever. Legitimately, look, what I'm trying to say is, like, you play Xbox, you play PlayStation, you play PC, right? You play all these other consoles. I'm pretty sure a lot of you play on these consoles, and tell me how more advanced in a program some of those games out there, Call of Duty, Overwatch, well, not Overwatch, I don't count Overwatch, I'm sorry for all of you that I offended, but Overwatch is legitimately one of the least programmed first-person shooters I've ever played in my entire life, and I played a decent amount. So Call of Duty, Halo, Destiny, Fortnite, what other games out there nowadays? Even Rocket League, bro. 3D animation. This is 2D animation. Those are 3D animation games, bro. So they're going to cost a lot more programming. They cost a lot more resources to make and all that. And how much do some of these games cost? Well, they might cost $100 on your first try, but at least you don't have to do 100 over and over and over like this. Dude, this game is so costly for no reason. A-Team, like, I don't know why you're doing this. Legitimately, like, there are games out there that are so much more cheaper that have, like, they cost so much. And it's not just one. It's, like, a lot of games out there that are so much cheaper. Kingdom Hearts just came out. Kingdom Hearts is an example as well. Like, seriously. These games are, like, much more cheaper than this one, and this one is a phone game. This one's a phone game, bro. It's not even close to how much programming and resources it takes to create these console 3D animated games. Legitimately, it's not. It's legitimately not. I'm sorry, but this game's like 1 gigabyte. Those games are like how many gigabytes? How many gigabytes are these games? They like a lot more resources, legitimately a lot more resources, and they're so much more cheaper. So I don't see why you make these so pay to win year after year after year after year after year, or like half year after half year after half year. It makes no sense to me. But anyways, moving on from there, don't want to get too long into this video. We have the stuff here for 2K metal, so it looks like this is going to be the new price. That's why I'm complaining, because I already seen this. And they offer for 2K medals instead of the 1,800 or 1,900. So yeah, they're doing that now instead, which I'm kind of unhappy with, to be fairly honest. I'm going on protest. I want the 400 in the side chest back. But yeah, all you really need to actually get the stuff in the first place, besides the scroll, 2K medals. You literally only need to hit 2 jackpots, and you got it. You got whatever gear piece you want from it. You can only get one because, again, the jackpot's going to be like 900. Yes, it's going to be 900, but when you spawn, you're going to be getting 50 to 200 per each spawn, so that's where you're going to be able to get... That's why in 2 jackpots, you should be able to get any weapon or armor of your choice. So definitely, they make it still pretty easy and accessible to obtain at least like a few pieces of armor and a few pieces of gear, so that's nice still. But yeah, they don't lower the metal cost on the scroll whatsoever, even though they're making it a little bit slightly more pay to win for the treasure spots and whatnot, which I'm not happy about. But yeah, again, these are pay to win. If you're new to this game, absolutely don't spawn this just because it looks nice. It's legitimately made to look nice and whatnot. There's a lot, it's a lot more nastier than it looks. You need to spawn this a lot usually if you're a new player before you actually get the stuff whatsoever. They have low rates on the summoning scroll. They have rates on the feature gear, but it might take like few jackpots to actually obtain the feature gear, and you're not gonna get a jackpot your first try. Like, you might get a bunch of random fodder, and then you might get a jackpot. Like, this is a continuous spawn. You're gonna get good stuff, but you need to spawn this a lot before you get good stuff, and it's gonna be 30 gems after your first time. So it costs a lot. It costs a lot. It's a pay-to-win spawn, so stay away from this if you're not free to play and whatnot. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching, and I hope this helped out to shortly review. These are stat sticks or great cosmetics, and then this monster right here is definitely something you don't want to miss. It might be good for the event. Definitely might be good for the event, and it might be useful for future player versus enemy endeavors because of its buff removal. at least one time. It's a limited time buff removal for the whole mission or whatever you're doing, but it only works one time and what's not. But this is definitely something you don't want to miss for guild battles, because it goes through karma and balancing, and no matter which guild you're fighting, you're going to be seeing karma. Karma is going to be there, so definitely you're going to want this for karma, because you manage to get this for karma, it's going to help out dramatically with your guild. Like, your guild's going to get a big upgrade. Even if one of you got this, it's a big upgrade. So definitely nice guild battle monster if you miss Kumba here and what's not. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped out. This is the AzureWrath, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.